G'day Reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we have another episode in the series Unique Reef Tanks of Australia. This is a beautiful tank and we're going to have a look at exactly how it works and why it is such a unique tank. We're going to have a look at the fish and corals, then the equipment that runs this tank, and then we're going to show you why this is such a unique reef tank. So let's start by having a look at the fish and corals, because there are some absolutely beautiful fish and amazing corals. So let's start with the fish. And the first fish you'll notice are these tangs that are constantly photobombing every picture we take. We've got the lipstick tang, there's a blue tang, an olivaceous tang, and they're also swimming around with a school of chromis. The chromis are great in a big tank like this to help to bring out the more shy fish. One of the coolest things in this tank for me is the pair of gobies. Now they've got a clam which has been separated into two sections, and there's a little cave on this side over here and a cave on that side over there, and these gobies keep to their own little caves, but they're keeping the sand clean, and they're a beautiful fish that don't always work in a lot of tanks. I think primarily the size of this tank, the grade of the sand, as well as the fact that there aren't a lot of corals on the substrate. These guys do have a tendency of spitting sand onto substrate dwelling corals. So let's have a look at the corals, because there are some really nice pieces in here. So we'll start with this bommy over here, and there's some really nice gonnies down at the front, purple with yellow phase. There's a variety of sort of pinky red gonnies. There's also a couple of different scrolling monties. Now we've got the red scrolling monty at the top, which is something that we see a lot. Probably not as common as the red scrolling monty these days as the green scrolling monty, and in combination they look really good together. Of course we've got that Dallas acro with the flame hawk sitting on top. So it's a really nice bommy, and I love the way that this piece ledges out. It makes a really good negative space underneath it. It's a very excellent piece of rock work. So if we move across to the middle of the tank, we've got this huge dragon soul favia. That came from the Wynnum store, Gallery Aquatica Wynnum, and it's one of the best dragon soul favias I've ever seen. We've got some cactus, Pavonia cactus, more favias. There's this cool turbine at the top here. So it's an interesting sort of long bommy with these caves underneath, which is great for the fish to swim in and around. There's a clam at the back of the tank here. We've got another excellent section, which I think the standout part down here for me is the Christmas tree worm rock. It's a really nice piece. We've got Alveopora, some soft corals, a Sinularia and such. Something else that really makes this tank though are the structures on the back of the tank. You can see the back of the tank, we've got the coral and algae, and otherwise it's black, but there's these ceramic frag rocks that we sell at Gallery Aquatica, and they're covered with coral. And jutting out from the back, it really gives the tank an extra dimension, an extra amount of depth from front to back. There's also a few DIY frag racks. Don't look as good as the ceramic frag racks, but they're holding some pretty nice little frags, so still pretty cool to see. So the livestock in this tank is excellent. The fish and the corals are really looking happy and healthy and excellent colour. So let's have a look at the equipment that runs this tank that is keeping this system so healthy. First of all, the equipment in the tank itself, the wave makers. There are two MP40s. There's one down this end at the front, one down the other end at the back. There's also two twin set Gaia 350s. So in other words, 4 Gaia pumps. And there's 2 up here pushing water across the top. There's another one vertical at the back here, and there's another one horizontal behind the return over at the back there. The lighting for this system is 4 Gen 5 Pro XR30 Radions. But one of the interesting things about this tank is that all of the filtration, the sump and etc. is out the back behind the tank itself, outside. So let's have a look at the filtration for this system. We're outside directly behind the tank. So the tank is through there, and we've got this little filter room, and it's a really well designed, very neat example of how to set up a sump outside for a reef tank. As you can see, we have the sump. It's quite a large sump. Water comes in through the plumbing from the overflow, which we'll look at in a sec, into the tank. It goes through 2 of the Clarisy filter rollers. It then passes through the 2 skimmers. I asked him what the reason for having the 2 skimmers was, and it was basically just a case of because he had them. There's a heap of biological media stacked in here, and then we have the algae scrubber, and we've got a large amount of Ketomorpha which is tumbling. There's 2 lights which are keeping this ball of keto growing. It's very healthy looking keto, so it's obviously reducing the nitrate and phosphate out of the system. And then we've got the water, all our return pumps are in this right hand section. There's an automated top-up system. The RO filter is up the top here. It feeds into our RO reservoir, which then feeds into the sump. We've got all of our power supplies. Controllers are in this box here. So it's a very, very neat system. But the secret as to what is so unique about this tank isn't the filtration. It's back inside. So let's go check it out. To anyone that walked in this room and didn't know otherwise, they would assume that this tank has been built into the wall. Now, what is so unique about this tank is it's actually not a built-in tank. It's actually cladding that covers the tank. So let's have a look either side, above and below the tank, at exactly what is there. So the beautiful idea behind this whole system is that there's actually no construction in the house itself apart from the 2 holes through the back of the tank, which allows the water to go through to the sump. You can see that the tank is actually sitting on pallet racking, which is one of the best things you can use for a stand because it is so strong, and it allows for this cladding to be attached very easily. So if this house is ever sold and this tank has to be moved, the tank can very easily come out. There's so many examples that I can think of where people have had tanks built into houses and they've had to move, so they leave the tank behind. And that can be a problem because some people that move into houses don't want fish tanks, or it just means that you have to set up a new tank for all of your livestock in the new house. So this is a brilliant design, having a tank which is effectively looking exactly the same as a tank that's built into the house, but it's totally removable. It's a really good idea. This reef tank is a really good example of what you can achieve when you're very particular with your planning process and ensuring that all your systems are well thought out. This tank is stunning. It really occupies the room beautifully. It's in a beautiful house, so it goes really, really well. But as I've said before, my favorite thing about this tank is the fact that it is fully removable without ruining the room itself. So if the time does come that they need to sell, it will be a very easy process. Well, at least as easy as moving a reef tank can possibly be. The fish in here are beautiful, the corals are beautiful, it's really coming along nicely. This tank's only about a year old, so I can't wait to see how it develops in the coming years. we'll bring you back to High Peaks Reef in future episodes of Gallery Aquatica TV, but it's been a pleasure bringing this beautiful tank to you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing. That's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you've subscribed to our channel so you don't miss an episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!